This video was made in association with KnifeInformer.com. Head on over to Knife Informer for all of your blade-related needs, including reviews, comparisons, stats, and more. What is up, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Collection Commentary. In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at something that I'm super excited to show you guys. This is a Keith Kruger K4. I don't have notes written down for this knife. I really don't want to take too much time on it. And the reason for that is because Keith is relatively new to the knife making world. He's got a couple models that are making their way out into distributors and everything like that. But really, I just wanted this to be kind of like a quick overview of the knife and then a quick overview of who Keith is. And then I can tell you guys a little bit about how you can explore him as a maker for yourself. Having said that, the K4 model is available at certain dealers right now, and so I do want to give you guys a little bit of an idea in terms of stats about what we're looking at. So we will go ahead and do a size comparison and a weight check, just so you guys know what's in front of you. This is a full handmade custom from South Africa, and you can see that it is dwarfed by the PM2 to some extent. Has more in common with the Rat 2 in terms of size, but it really fits somewhere almost exactly in the middle. Lengthwise, it's definitely shorter than the PM2 and closer to the Rat 2, but overall in terms of thickness and with the contoured handles and with the tallness of the knife, it fits somewhere kind of in the middle. So it's pretty reasonably sized EDC knife, and I definitely enjoy that. You can see here that it does have a 3D milled titanium clip with a ceramic ball, very similar to pretty much everything coming out of South Africa right now, as well as many other makers. And that, of course, means that it's going to go in and out of the pocket with just one hand, something that I'm always a big fan of. Now, this is going to be non-milled titanium liners with G10 scales. Let's go ahead and take a look. We're looking at 3.25 ounces. That's a perfectly reasonable weight as far as I'm concerned. Anywhere between 3.5 to 4.5 ounces is a pretty good weight for something that's like a full 8-inch, 8.5-inch knife. This knife is a little bit smaller, and of course with G10 scales, we are looking at a lighter weight. And so this is completely reasonable. This knife's going to feel great in the hand. It's going to be a great little EDC, a great little gentleman carry for anybody that is looking for that in their life. So this video, again, is going to be a little bit more rambly than usual, but that's because I really want to get this guy's name out there and let you guys know who it is. So without further ado, Keith Kruger is the son-in-law to Andre Thorburn, which is really fantastic. Obviously, I'm a diehard fan of Andre's knives. They're literally some of the best knives on the planet. There's just no getting around that. And a lot of people that I know, by people, sorry, I mean knife makers, a lot of makers that I know that I really appreciate have had teachings from Andre, whether that's Francois Masson or Erucus Blamaris or even Sam from HEA Designs. I actually have one of his knives right here. Even Sam from HEA Knives learned a lot from Andre, and so Andre's obviously been a big deal in the knife community for a long time. He's had a lot of influence over some of my favorite makers and makers all throughout the world, and it's really cool to see the next generation in his family taking up the mantle and really getting into the world of custom knives. Now, I'm not 100% exactly sure how long Keith has been making knives. I do know it's not too long. I'm going to say a few years tops. And he does make knives alongside his father-in-law in South Africa. So you do have Andre right there with Keith, able to work with him and teach him methods and everything like that. And so you do see a lot of what's great about Andre's knives coming through on Keith's. Obviously, first thing that you're going to notice is that the blade shape is near identical to a lot of the blade shapes that you see on Thorburn's, and frankly, a lot of the South African knives. So this L36 does have a recurve shape, so it is going to be a little bit different. But what you can see in terms of similarity is that you do have mirror polished flats that kind of flow into a pointed swedge with a hand rub satin finish and a beautiful little stamped logo on the blade, where it's the logo surrounded by kind of the name of the maker. And that's pretty common. I think Francois, again, pretty similar. And even if we look at the Erucus, You can see these guys all have lots of similarities in terms of the way they design their blades. So that definitely shows through, even more so on this one, just because you have such direct influence from Andre. Now, having said that, I really enjoy that. One of my favorite things about Andre's knives is how beautiful the blades are, and this knife is no exception. The hand rub satin finish is beautiful, not quite to the quality level of a Thorburn, but it is definitely up there. The mirror polish is as mirror as it gets. And you can see some other similarities. We have like the drilled hole through the flipper tab, well-placed jimping and everything like that, well-shaped. And yeah, overall, it's a great little knife. So if we take a look at some of the contouring, some of the edges, I will wipe off some of my fingerprints from the liners here. This knife, when I got it, did have bronze liners. And as you guys know, that was not going to stand for me. I actually purchased the knife having emailed Matt from Thai Spectrum, literally saying like, hey, I bought this knife, it has bronze liners, I'm going to take it apart, I'm going to send you those liners the day that I get the knife, and I would like them to be a different color. So I literally had the knife in my hands for maybe 3 hours before I completely took it apart, put the liners in a package, and sent them off to Matt, because there was no way that I was going to own a knife with bronze liners, and that's just, that's my own personal problem, and so I apologize. It's funny, when Keith saw the picture of the knife on Instagram, he commented and he said, "Where'd the bronze go?" I was like, yeah, I know, I'm sorry, but I just can't stand bronze in my collection. So I did get these re-anodized to blue, and it's kind of a bluish purple, depends on how much hand oil is on there. And so I think it looks really, really good with the blue, but it did come as bronze anodized liners. Now, in terms of the fit and finish and everything, it's pretty up there, but you can definitely tell that he's a newer maker. So in terms of the scales being flush with the liners, pretty good job. I don't really see any imperfections that are really worth noting. Though you can tell it's not quite as flawless as a Thorburn. And then from there, I really like how smooth the G10 is. These are ivory G10 inlays, so it's not real, it's synthetic. But the G10 is super smooth. He did a really great job. Not quite as smooth as you might have on an A2 knife, which is just like recklessly smooth to a degree that I didn't think was possible. But it's definitely up there. You can see they share similar pivot shapes and everything like that. So he's definitely got a lot of influence from the guys that are around him, but that's something that I both enjoy because I like those knives and makers, and something that I can understand because those are the kinds of people that he's learning from. Now, when I did get the knife, it was deploying excellently, but it would not fall shut. It was kind of tight. A little too tight, so I did loosen the pivot a little bit. The knife is slightly off center because of that, but there is a good bit of Loctite in there holding it in place, and so it functions very well. There is no blade play, so that loosening of the pivot did not do anything to diminish the overall quality of the knife. No blade play whatsoever, and now we get a nice shake shut / drop shut kind of action. Of course, the knife is running on IKBS, as are all of these handmade South African knives that aren't running on washers anyway. And you can see deployment's super snappy. Get you a bit of the sound there. Not quite as thwackish as a Thorburn thwack, but you can tell he's definitely getting there. And overall, the knife absolutely glides shut with the same smoothness as a Thorburn, frankly. I don't feel the IKBS. I don't feel any vibration. I don't feel any friction or anything like that. So really, the quality level of the action is truly top-notch, and it's really up there with the rest of these guys. He did a really, really great job. And so that's pretty much it, guys. I don't want to take up too much more of your time. I just really wanted you guys to know who Keith was. I wanted you to see that the work that he does is very, very good. And, you know, at the price point, his knives that I've seen for sale are anywhere between $450 and $600. Just kind of depends on the model and the materials. And that's pretty reasonable. I'd probably like him to stay a little bit more to the 500 range as opposed to the 600 range for a little while. It seems like most of his knives do come right under 600. I believe some of the more expensive ones, depending on materials, I've seen breach like 585-ish, which is fair. I do think that's fair. So it's definitely a high-quality knife. It's one of those things, if you guys have seen my Arucus video, I said something similar, which is that if you're looking to get one single amazing South African custom and you've saved your money for a year and you want to invest in something that's full dress and that will really blow the rest of your collection away, and that you don't really plan on buying anything else to compete with it, then there's no option outside of Thorburn. When you're talking about price differences of $100, $200, or $300, there's no question that if you're only ever going to get one handmade custom, period, and it's going to be South African, it has to be a Thorburn. Having said that, if you're like me, and you're like a lot of custom collectors, and you've got all kinds of knives from all over the world and everything, the K4 from Keith is fantastic. It's an excellent choice. And something that I really like to do with the hobby is support up-and-coming makers. He's absolutely earned support from people like myself. The knife is of excellent quality. It's something that I'm really happy to own, and I will continue to buy his knives in the future. So if you are looking for his knives and you're seeing this video kind of as it goes live, there are some options available on Blade Gallery. I believe there are 3 available right now. And then as we move through the next 2 shows that are coming up, the USN show I believe is in August, and then we have the New York Custom Knife Show in November. We should see dealers picking up a few more of Keith's knives. At least that's kind of what I've heard through the grapevine. That's what I hope for. And so you should expect to see more on Blade Gallery and hopefully African custom knives as well. Keith, again, is a great guy. I've gotten to communicate with him through Instagram. He's very nice. He's very easy to get a hold of, and he's got some examples of really awesome knives that he's working on. So he's got a few different models to choose from. Most of them are on this kind of smaller EDC size, which is really good. I think that's a good place to start. And yeah, thanks a lot for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you're excited about Keith as an up-and-coming maker. I hope you're excited about his connection to Andre Thorburn. If you'd like to see videos with all of these other awesome knives, please feel free to subscribe. And of course, if you'd like to see amazing pictures of them, you can check me out on Instagram at tovarishworks. If you'd like to send me a lovely loaner, I definitely appreciate it. You can do so by emailing me at tovarishworks@gmail.com. Thanks so much for watching, guys, and I will see you next time.